Meet David and Mark. They both just turned 50 and live in the same neighborhood. David feels strong, sleeps well, and his doctor says he's in great shape. Mark gets winded climbing stairs, his joints ache, and his blood pressure is up. Same age, completely different bodies. Why? Scientists at Harvard have been obsessed with this exact question, and what they've found changes what we thought we knew about aging. It turns out your birthday is the least interesting number about you. The number that actually matters? Your biological age. And this one you can change. Today I'll explain biological age, what makes it rise faster, and the 3 biggest things that can slow it down. Here's a concept that will reframe everything. You have 2 ages. Your chronological age is just how many times Earth has circled the sun since you were born. Simple math. But then there's your biological age, the actual age of your cells, your DNA, and your organs. And those 2 numbers can be wildly different. Harvard researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital built a machine learning model in 2024 called an epigenetic clock. It reads chemical tags on your DNA called methylation patterns and can tell whether your cells are aging faster or slower than they should be. They found 2 distinct signals: damage patterns that accelerate aging and protective patterns that slow it down. 2 entirely different biological stories happening inside different people of the exact same age. Think of your DNA like a book. Chronological age tells you how old the book is. Biological age tells you how worn the pages are, whether someone highlighted it, dog-eared the corners, or kept it in a protective sleeve. Same book, very different condition. And Harvard's Gazette recently reported something even more striking. In Boston alone, 2 neighborhoods, just 2 miles apart, have a 23-year difference in life expectancy. 2 miles. That's not genetics, that's environment, behavior, and stress. To understand why emotions physically age you, you need to understand telomeres. Every cell in your body has chromosomes, long strands of DNA. At the very tip of each chromosome sits a telomere. Picture the plastic cap at the end of a shoelace. Every time your cell divides, that cap gets a little shorter, and when it gets too short, the cell can't divide anymore. It either dies or becomes what scientists call a zombie cell, a senescent cell that sits in your body silently generating inflammation. That inflammation is the engine of most age-related diseases: heart disease, diabetes, cancer, dementia. Your telomere length is essentially a biological countdown timer. Person A, low, well-managed stress. Telomeres are longer, cells divide freely, and there is less inflammation. Organs function closer to their youthful capacity. Biological age is often 5 to 10 years younger than their chronological age. Person B, chronic, unmanaged stress. Telomeres are shorter, damaged by cortisol and oxidative stress. Cellular senescence is faster, and there is more systemic inflammation. Biological age is often 5 to 10 years older than chronological age. In a landmark study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, researchers found that women under the highest levels of perceived stress had telomeres equivalent to a full decade of additional aging compared to low-stress women. An entire decade from chronic psychological stress alone. That's the biological difference between looking and feeling 50 versus looking and feeling 60 when both of you just had the same birthday. So how, mechanically, does emotional stress age your cells? Here's the pathway, and I'll keep it simple. When you feel stressed, your body releases cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone. Short bursts are fine. That's survival. But when stress becomes chronic, week after week, month after month, cortisol floods your system constantly. That flood does 3 things that destroy telomeres. It generates reactive oxygen species, ROS, essentially molecular fire that preferentially burns through telomere tips. It suppresses telomerase, the enzyme whose entire job is to rebuild your telomeres. Cortisol essentially fires your cellular repair crew. It triggers chronic inflammation, which creates a self-reinforcing loop. Shorter telomeres leads to more inflammation, leads to more damage. Now let's compare two behavioral archetypes you probably recognize immediately. The processor type acknowledges stress and moves through it, has emotional boundaries, tends to exercise and sleep well, sees setbacks as temporary, maintains a lower baseline cortisol level. Their cells thank them. The suppressor type bottles emotions, runs rumination loops, sleep deprived but functioning, sees problems as permanent, constant low-grade cortisol activation, even when nothing acute is happening. Their cells are on fire, silently. Here's what's important. The suppressor isn't weak. They're often the hardest workers in the room, the most reliable people you know. They've just been taught that pushing through is the same as processing through. Biologically, it absolutely is not. Here's the good news, and there's a lot of it. Biological age is modifiable. Unlike your birthday, it responds to what you do. Harvard researchers have confirmed that diet, exercise, sleep, and social connection all measurably influence how fast your DNA ages. But let's focus on the emotional piece, because that's the lever most people aren't pulling. Move your body daily. Researcher Elisa Epel, PhD, calls exercise the biggest antidote to biological stress dysregulation. It literally moderates the stress-telomere relationship. Studies show that if you had a terrible, high cortisol year but exercised consistently, your telomere attrition can look like you had a peaceful year. That's extraordinary. Name the emotion. Don't manage it away. Emotional suppression keeps cortisol elevated, but simply labeling what you feel, I'm angry, I'm scared, I'm overwhelmed, activates the prefrontal cortex and measurably dials down the amygdala's threat response. Neuroscience calls this affect labeling. It's journaling with a DNA-level return on investment. Sleep is cellular maintenance. During deep sleep, your brain clears inflammatory waste products. Chronic poor sleep accelerates epigenetic aging markers measurably, not over years, over days. Every night of quality sleep is your cells taking out the biological trash. Connection is literal medicine. Social isolation has been quantified as equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day in terms of mortality risk. Belonging, feeling genuinely seen by other people, lowers your cortisol baseline. Your relationships are quite literally written into your DNA. So, let's go back to David and Mark. David isn't just lucky. He's not genetically extraordinary. He processes stress, moves his body, sleeps, and stays connected. His epigenetic clock shows a biological age closer to 42. Mark has been running on cortisol and suppressed emotion for 2 decades. His clock reads 59. The most important thing about this science? It's not a verdict, it's a map. Biological age has been shown to be reversible through consistent lifestyle and emotional changes. Harvard researchers found that reprogramming cells reduced cellular damage markers measurably. The Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health developed a ribosomal clock showing that calorie-restricted mice showed a biological age younger than their chronological age. You are not stuck with where you are today. The right question is, how are you aging and what are you going to do about it starting today? If this changed how you see aging, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop in the comments. Are you a processor or a suppressor? And I'll see you in the next one.